Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports. Rassie Erasmus is taking no chances when it comes to the game against the Barbarians by naming an absolutely stacked Springbok side for Saturday's clash down in Cape Town. 2 uncapped players in the starting lineup, 4 in the overall squad. Sacha back at 10, taking the wheel. A start for Asenathi and Ntlabakanye. A lot of the Japanese players starting, and a very big call in the number 8 jersey with Jean-Luc Depree getting an opportunity. Been around that Springbok squad a lot, but hasn't actually turned out in the green and gold in a few years' time. He will get an opportunity this weekend. Manie Libbok on the bench. Siya Kolisi captain. Vincent Tshituka, a big opportunity for him, and a huge call at 9 as well. We've just seen a really good Barbarians squad being named, and the Springboks spoke about yesterday the fact that they are treating this like a test match, and looking at the Boks 23, that very much seems to be the case. The only big thing is no bomb squad, a very traditional 5-3 split being named, which allows more players to get an opportunity, I suppose, in terms of being able to sort of give lots more players in the back line an opportunity throughout this game, and potentially might even see that going into Italy. Let's get into the squad shall we? And before we do that, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. This is the side that has been named by Rassie Erasmus. Let's go through it, shall we? So, Oxenchair, Malcolm Mark, Asenathi and Ntlabakanye. That is an absolute nuke of a front row. I mean, Asenathi, it's been quite interesting, actually. He's walked out with Oxenchair almost every single training session. They've been together quite a lot, chatting a lot. And there seems to be a little bit of bromance developing there. And I tell you what, those two are going to move absolute mountains if they start together in a Boks jersey. Malcolm Mark's in between them. He looks small compared to these two. That's the funniest thing. I mean, Ntlabakanye is an absolute behemoth, and he's trimmed down, actually. He used to be about 150 kgs. I think he's down to sort of 138 kgs. And I tell you what, he's very mobile for this man of his size. Jean Klein, Luetiaga back in the mix. We haven't seen them in a Boks jersey for quite a while. Jean Klein has had a lot of injuries and hasn't featured since the World Cup, similar to Luetiaga as well. Those two do start together. I think it'll be the first time, actually, that they'll start together, from my knowledge. Siya Kolisi captains aside, we kind of expected to see somebody with a bit of experience in the number 6 jersey to guide them in the form of Siya Kolisi. Vincent Tshituka getting a start as well. Something I think a lot of people are quite interested in, given the fact there is an injury to Pieter-Steph du Toit. We've got to look at options in the number 7 jersey. Albert Lowe's currently injured at the moment. We've had Franco Mostert, deputized there. We've tried Ben Jason Dixon there. And there's just no real sort of Pieter-Steph du Toit replacement. So Vincent Tshituka's got an opportunity to put his name in the hat as a genuine option. Amidst all the talks about potential number 8, no Evan Ruiz, Jean-Luc Depree backed in that 8 jersey. And you've got to feel it's long overdue. Shame, he's been on reserve list. He's been called into squads, for example. The Deprees have always kind of traveled around, but just never seem to actually make it into the starting lineup, for example. So a big opportunity for Jean-Luc Depree to remind the Boks management that he's more than just capable of carrying a few tackle bags and the likes of that he is good enough to make teams and to contribute to the Boks. Morne partnering next to Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. I think we'll see this quite a lot. No Faf de Klerk's a very big call, given the fact that obviously he's coming from Japan, hasn't played for the Boks in a while, but they really rate Morne van der Berg. Grant Williams, we're not sure how fit he is, for example, whether he is ready to start. He is coming back from an injury as well. In theory, he's not part of the injuries, but could also not be necessarily match fit yet. So I think we will see him. But I do think Morne van der Berg is going to be a player they are going to prioritize next to Grant Williams as a big part of upcoming squads. They speak about him a lot. And next to Sacha, well, Sacha, take the wheel. Give the keys to the house, the car, everything to Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Give him as much time as possible in that number 10 jersey to grow into the fly half we need to try and win a 3rd World Cup in a row. And then that rest of the back line, well, I mean, jeepers, it doesn't get much more stacked, does it? Kirtley, Arendse, Cheslin Kolbe, Aphelele Fassi. That is X Factor on X Factor on X Factor, pace on pace on pace. And then the most capped Springbok centre pairing of all time in between them, Damian de Allende, Jesse Kriel. What a backline that is. It really, really is. And I think what's really good about this team is Asenathi Ntlabakanye in his first game for the Boks. Look at the experience around him. Vincent Tshituka, look at the experience around him. Morne van der Berg, his first start, I think he's only got 2 caps to his name. His first start was in Australia in horrible conditions, wet conditions, difficult conditions, and he struggled. And I think most people would struggle, to be honest. Now he's starting next to Sacha. He's not as much more experience. I mean, he has racked up, I think it's already 8 caps. But look at the rest of the back line. You know, you've got so much experience in that back line next to two players who are still getting to grips with international rugby. Then off the bench, Marnus van der Merwe, Jan Wessels, Ntlabakanye Fassi, all young and players for the future, really. Well, Ntlabakanye Fassi, not particularly young, but as a tight head, you can kind of play until 38, 39, even 40 years old if you ask Brock Harris. So new to the setup. But I'm very excited to see Marnus van der Merwe. I think that he's going to put a lot of pressure on Bongi Mbonambi, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, they really rate Jan Hendrik Wessels. Interestingly, they talked about the fact that he can also play at hooker and that he's become quite versatile now. Franco Master, Kwagga Smith, not overly surprising. You know, want to give the Japan-based players rather some game time, get an opportunity for them to sort of get a bit of a run out and hit out. And Kwagga Smith is always, you know, the jack of all trades. When in doubt, throw him on and let him cause havoc. Kobus Reinach backed in the number 21 jersey. He does seem to have jumped ahead of after Clerk in the sort of pecking order when it comes to the Bok number 9s. What will be interesting as we get to sort of the New Zealand games, your Australia games, your big games this year, which sort of players and which scrum halves start, because we've got a lot of scrum halves on our radar. I mean, there's 4 in the squad, and that's after having let go of Jaden Hendricks, for example. And then Manie Libbok, I think he was always going to be involved. You know, for me, it was always about whether he started or Sash started and which one was on the bench. He's about to leave Cape Town. So this is a bit of a farewell, I suppose, for him as well, to be able to play in front of that home crowd in the green and gold ahead of departing the Stormers next year. We're not entirely sure exactly whether it's a loan, for example. We assume it's not, but we actually got no confirmation. But the Stormers have a bid farewell, so we assume it's basically him. He's gone. So an opportunity for him. And then Andre Esterhuizen, the agent of chaos, as they call him, will be coming off the bench, and we'll get some time in at number 12. The criticism towards this team will be, well, where the new players like an Ethan Hooker, for example? Surely this was an opportunity to give him a go. And Ed van der Merwe, surely this was an opportunity to give him a go. No Bulls players, which I think we kind of probably knew there wasn't going to be. Maybe a Wilco Low, but also I think it's a good opportunity for him to have some rest. And the main thing is these are all players who've been training for a while. You know, these are all players who have been in camp for the last few weeks. They've been training together, and they would have been preparing for this as a unit probably for about 2 weeks now. You know, maybe this is their third week really of prepping. So that's what I think a big thing as well. Jan Wessels is the only Bulls player involved, and that's because we've got a bit of a crisis at loosehead, where with lots of injuries there. So for me, I think it's a really exciting team. I think obviously could have had a couple more players, sort of younger players or new players. Lots of talk will be about, you know, where's Evan Roos, for example, getting an opportunity, but I think we've got new and young players in the right positions. You know, scrum half, Kobus and Faf are getting older. Jaden's not in great form. Morne van den Berg, what can he do? Sasha needs to get as much opportunity as possible. Boom, there he is in at 10. You know, number 7 is a potential problematic position, given the fact that Peter Steph, the toy, is just so far ahead of everybody, and nobody is really a proper option after him. Well, let's see what Vincent Tshituka can do. We know that tight head is a problem. Not a problem because we've got the players, but from an experience point of view, you know, Vincent Koch's getting old, Trevor Nyakane is getting old, Frans Malherbe is getting old, 2 of those players currently injured and long-term injuries, Vincent Koch in and around. We need new blood in number 3. We've got 2 uncapped players playing at tight head this weekend. We talked about hookers being an issue at the last World Cup. Well, boom, Marnus van der Merwe comes in. So you can kind of see how that sort of long-term planning is starting to sort of really come into fruition with the side. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.